In a world of chimeras that were bullying humans so hard, they saw the need to create armor to defend themselves. And the story tells that for a long time, there was a knight who wears a black armor and who was in charge of defeating an entire corrupt kingdom solely with his power, ending years of tyranny. Really epic, right? This guy became known as the weakest undefeated, or the Black Hero, although shortly after overthrowing the kingdom, he disappeared and is never heard from again, although now he just chills hiding his identity, and dedicated himself only to do commissioned missions. This is the story of Lux Arcadia, the infamous and famous weak undefeated noble ex-prince of the extinct Holy Empire of Arcadia. For centuries, the Arcadia family ruled the lands of the empire as far as the light touches, believing that their reign would be eternal as time. But one day everything changed, and nothing was the same since then. 5 years ago, a coup that overthrew the monarchy and forced the surviving family to find another way to earn their daily bread. Some hid in the shadows, and they denied their past. Years passed. Lux goes from one place to another, jobless and holeless, until luck puts him in the right place. A bathroom full of girls. The fear of being caught by the Imperial Guard is exchanged for the joy of seeing beautiful things as far as the eye can see. Despite the emotion of the moment, Lux tries to remedy the situation by showing off his irresistible charisma, sensual charm, and royal cunning. Basically ended up telling her she's hot. On the other hand, the ladies do not take kindly to the insinuations of the lazy nobleman. After an exchange of blows with the young ladies, Lil Bro wakes up in the dungeons of an old castle. After a couple of hours, Lux discovers that he is imprisoned in the Royal Academy of Dragon Knights, an elite institution that trains the best warriors in the kingdom. The director, Riley Ingram, hires him as a cleaner. At first, Lux doesn't understand why they didn't kick him out of the academy. As soon as he arrived, Riley explains that he is the only man present, since the best men in the school are soldiers who serve the new empire, and also because they are short-staffed. However, one of the students is not at all happy with the arbitrary decision of the director. That student is Lisesharte Atismata, Lisha for her friends, or the Princess of the Scarlet War for her enemies, who was also the girl that Lux touched in the bathrooms the day before. Rely wouldn't let the intruder go unpunished after groping her students, so she'll let Lisha and Lux duel for the Scarlet Princess's trampled honor. In addition to the upcoming fight with Lisha, Lux suffers the weight of accusations from his classmates. Even his younger sister, Airi, and her friend Nokuto heard the gossip that is said about him, that his brother is the worst degenerate. Despite the adverse situation that Airi has been offered, she is happy that her brother is with her. Although Airi missed her brother very much, and does not lack the desire to hug him, she must maintain her composure because all eyes are on them. Airi reminds her that the duel with Lisesharte is much more serious than she thinks. Both she and Lux must pretend to have no relationship with the former royal house, or else they would be considered criminals. The only destiny they can choose is to work the rest of their lives as a slave to pay the unpayable debt they owe to the Empire, or to fight with all the strength their soul gives them against Lisesharte and entrust themselves to all the saints there have been and ever have been. Without any choice, Lux goes to the great event, a confrontation worthy of modern gladiators. Lisha and Lux will fight wearing the mythical drag ride, mechanical armor that gives the wearer superhuman strength and resistance. The knight with the highest rank will have the most power. The fight is even until it starts. As soon as it starts, Lux notices that Lisha has an abysmal advantage over him, since he basically has some scrap metal. He quickly tries to attack with his sword, but fails to hurt him. Suddenly, the weight of his mistakes begins to fall on his head. Seeing that Lisha is overcome by a murderous rage that will only calm when she has him on his knees begging for mercy, Lux tries to calm her down with an apology for groping her in the bathroom. Contrary to what Lisha expects, she is impressed by our protagonist's moves. She wonders why he did not use the black sword that he was carrying. She goes into a rage, spitting out a hail of bullets before time runs out, and the contest ends in a tie. Wanting to preserve her honor, Lisha uses her special technique to leave him with no choice but to apologize by licking her boots. However, Lux is not ready to let his guard down as a monster burst onto the scene, causing chaos in the arena. That beast is a gargoyle, a mythical being of zero intelligence and insatiable appetite. Without hesitation, Lux proposes a truce to his opponent to defeat the gargoyle and save his companions while they have time. Lisha swallows her pride and agrees to work side by side, trusting the invincible weakling. Enemies join together, but Gargoyle beats them tirelessly. Trying to knock them down, Lisha lets Lux take the lead, and he is the one who kills the gargoyle. The audience is paralyzed, exchanging fear for shouts of encouragement for their companions. After a long fight, both show that they can do more than any beast that dares to disturb the peace. The encounter ends with Lux badly injured and unconscious due to blood loss. While he recovers, Lisha takes care of him more out of commitment than for the pleasure of helping him. Yeah, I wonder if she will fall in love with him, we'll see. Lux doesn't care if she is there out of obligation or pleasure. Having her by his side makes him feel a peace of mind that was previously foreign to him. Already in private, the princess confides a deadly secret to her comrade in arms. Princess Lisesharte carries on her skin the scar of shame, the mark of the First Empire, which means dishonor on her entire family and her entire future. That's why she was so angry, because he saw her mark. Lux wants to know more about her and investigate her past, believing that no one is listening to them, although the world tells them subtly that now is not the time to reveal the secrets that sleep on their lips. Almost immediately, they let him know that he has been accepted from cadet to royal knight. Now he would live under the same roof as Lisha, Ari, and countless beautiful girls as far as the eye can see. The next day, Lux appears before her classmates at the academy. Beyond the strangeness of the moment for being the only man in the school, Lux feels happy to reunite with a dear childhood friend, Philippi Ingram, or Phil for him, who still has a lot of affection for him and a special place within his bulging chest. Lisha observes with some suspicion how the others notice Lux when before they looked at him with disgust. Furthermore, she begins to feel displaced by her new friend. To mark her place as the first one who made her heart beat faster, she asks Lux to be her assistant because they have the confidence of having seen her as God brought her into the world in the bathrooms. This greatly upsets Phil, who wanted to be the one to take away his friend's innocence. Before the argument escalates between the two, another partner, Krulsifer, gets him out of the way. Instead of making sure he's okay, Krulsifer goes straight to the point to ask him if he knows the Black Hero, a legendary knight who, armed only with a drag ride, made the ancient empire fall, and with whom he has a pending account that he cannot ignore. Lux pretends not to understand, saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Krulsifer asks him to find him because he has unfinished business with him. As a result of their talk, Lux begins to remember moments that were better buried in oblivion. Our protagonist goes to sleep, reliving those bitter memories that continue to hurt him. When he wakes up, he is greeted with the softness and warmth of a new day. He is greatly surprised by the warmth and delicacy that comes from Phil's chest. The director assigned her room so that Philippi has a place to sleep, since there are no rooms available. When thinking about what could have happened in the middle of her dreams, he is very embarrassed for having slept with the warmth of his chest next to her like when they were children. After that hectic dawn, Lux fulfills his responsibilities as mayor in the institution's mechanical workshop, although to his surprise, the head of the workshop, Lisha herself, has already taken care of her tasks because she spent the night up repairing her drag ride as a sign of respect for his bravery. With the rest of the afternoon free, Lisha takes him around the city to eat delicious things, contemplate the kingdom that prostrates itself at his feet, and give an explanation to the butterflies that attack his stomach every time they see each other. Told you she is catching feeling for our protagonist. Already confident, Lisha reveals to him the origin of her mark that she hides with so much apprehension. 5 years ago, she was captured by the old empire since her father participated in the strike that overthrew it. Lisha waited days, weeks, and months for her father or one of his men to rescue her, but her father chose the cause over his own daughter. Lisha wanted to delete herself, letting her pride shatter when her father finally died. In her captivity, her captors marked her with molten metal as a sign of shame. When she became Princess of the New Kingdom, she hid the mark from her subjects. If one day we find out what is hidden behind the silk that covers her skin, everything she has endured will have been worthless. Lisha asks him how it felt to lose everything he ever loved from one moment to the next. This doubt haunts him in his dreams. Lux relives over and over again when a familiar face stained with blood called him weak because he lacked the hatred to continue killing. After a restless night of endless nightmares, the former prince wakes up as if nothing had happened because duty knocks at the door. A monster appeared in the south of the kingdom, so the knights are on their way. The girls must get ready and go as soon as possible in order to prevent the threat from spreading to the foothills of the empire. Upon arriving, the warriors encounter an amorphous gelatinous mass from which gargoyles sprout and attack the students. Suddenly, the captain of the knights stands up like a man using a whistle to attract the monsters. He sends his henchmen to attack and leave her on the ground. Lisha surrenders, believing that she failed as queen. The traitor wants to finish her off, but not before revealing to her that it was he who kidnapped her 5 years ago. The traitor marks the end of Lisha just as he marked her skin. There is nothing to do until Lux arrives at lightning speed, ready to show himself as he really is. The Black Knight who destroyed the Empire armed with his sword and his drag ride. Once again, the demons of his past pursue him, although his willpower is stronger than the steel of any sword. Lux looks at Lisesharte, swearing that he will protect her as he could not protect those he loved 5 years ago. By the way, the secret that he was the Black Hero only is known to the princess. When he returns, his companions prepare him. A welcome party to save them. Everyone wants to take a little piece of it to their dorms. So the director organizes a competition. Whoever wins will keep it for a week and can do with it whatever they want. Wow. Lux runs like hell trying to escape, only to be caught by Phil when he frees himself from her. He hides in a warehouse, with so much bad luck that Krulsifer sets a trap for him to stay with him and make him her boyfriend for a week. But the real reason why she wants him to be her boyfriend was because she had been compromised against her will with a prince from another kingdom, so Lux pretending to be her boyfriend will make her parents give up on the idea. On the other hand, Lux and Ariri have more serious problems. R'lyeh shows them the bone whistle that controls the gargoyles. In addition to the investigation, the brothers must find out if it is a simple whistle or the key to the doors of the underworld. The next morning, Lux accompanies his recent girlfriend talking, studying until late and walking through the streets of the kingdom. Krulsifer reveals that she became interested in him because at his side, she forgets about the world of obligations that await her after the afternoon. The calm of the moment is broken when a group of knights intercept them in a dead end. Lux tries to repel them, but without his drag ride, he is at the mercy of his opponents. Krulsifer takes the reins of the fight using his drag ride with exceptional mastery. Lux is amazed by his girlfriend, who moves with the grace of a black swan dancing to the sound of bullets. The couple are dining at an inn, happy to survive another day, when they are interrupted by a man with a golden wig and noble manners, who introduces himself as Balzeride Kreutzer, one of the 4 great nobles and Krulsifer's fiancée. Krulsifer immediately clarifies that his commitment is not to her, because he is dating Lux. Balzeride becomes enraged at being rejected by his fiancée, so he challenges our protagonist. The winner will stay with the beautiful maiden, Blue Hair Girl. Krulsifer thanks him for accepting the fight, even though he is no match for one of the great nobles. As if that were not enough, Lux must work, research the bone whistle, and train for the duel, which consumes all his energy until he falls asleep in class. Luckily for him, his classmate, Tilfer, convinced Lisha and Phil to become his maids, and satisfy him even in his most indecent fantasies. At first, he is surprised to be treated like a king, but he takes a break before duty knocks on his door. At the same time, somewhere in a great country, the 4 great nobles debate the future of ordinary people. Since the monsters have awakened from the ruins, they fear that a superior force, called Ragnarok, will rise from its slumber and fill the world with chaos and destruction. In order to learn more, Warg Kreutzer, Balzeride's father, proposes sending the Dragon Knights to investigate the ruins. That night, R'lyeh entrusts Lux with keeping the bone whistle as part of her mission in tomorrow's operation. Lux obeys the order, without any complaints, to rest in the bathrooms, thinking that he would be alone. Great is his surprise when he opens his eyes and sees Phil as God brought her into the world. While he thinks about how to get out of there, Phil's soft aroma intoxicates him until he is unconscious, forgetting for that night the great weight he keeps on his back. The next morning, the girls and Lux wait for the instructions for the attack. They are all surprised to see that they will be commanded by Balzeride. Lisha and Lux protest the decision, although their complaints are belittled by the noble. Krulsifer simply swallows his anger and follows orders. The ruins that are infested with gargoyles that spread across the sky. Balzeride takes a moment to rub his power into Lux by proposing that if he kills more gargoyles than him, he will forget the duel. However, the ruins explode into a form of energy that expels them from the battlefield. Krulsifer realizes that they are inside the ruins. Lux waits for Krulsifer to recover, but continues walking to the great mystical tree that stands in the center of the ruins, waiting for the key that will release what is hidden there. When Lux arrives, he discovers that the key was always with him. It is not the whistle. It is Krulsifer, the last survivor of the people of the ruins. When she was little, the Einfolk house of the northern religious country was found by Imi in the ruins with no one around her. When she was adopted, the Einfolk were indifferent to her, treating her as a link between the past and the future instead of a person. That's why he doesn't mind dying right there, if that was his destiny. Lux tries to restore hope to him, and by telling him how his mother died in an accident he caused when he was a child, people began to reject him due to his resentment of the royal family. When the world turned its back on him, only Phyla took pity on him, which is why he wants to give him back the hope of a new day like Phil did for him. Fortunately, Lisha moved sky, sea and earth with her drag ride to free them from the ruins and return them to the surface, because that night is the great duel. Although Krulsifer gave Lux some tranquilizers to sleep him so that he would not go to the battle, since she would be the one who would participate in the encounter. Later, the royal fiancés see each other's faces. One fights for his interests, and the other to be the master of her destiny. Although Krulsifer has the soul of a warrior, her body does not respond as it should. Bolzeride has fun with his sorrows and feelings, believing he is a slave and master of the universe. When everything seemed lost, a sword crossed the sky in the direction of the night, removing him from his path. Out of nowhere, Lux appeared, armed with his black drag ride to defend the honor of his false girlfriend, as he swore to him in the ruins. The spectacular fight shakes the earth, giving Balzeride the advantage due to his enormous strength. In the distance, Krulsifer begs him to stop, because he will not win anything from the duel. However, Lux lets her know that there is no more valuable treasure in this world than seeing her smile, free of all sadness. Wow, so romantic. The duel ends favourably for the couple of lovebirds who managed to cancel the engagement with the Kreutzer family. At the end of the date, Krulsifer asks him not to ask him anything, because he will not have to explain anything to him. He just wants to bite his lips and fill himself with it, with his kisses. Well, before continuing, please consider leaving your like and a subscription, as this really helps the channel, thank you. Anyways, the story must continue. The problems do not stop appearing due to reports from a voyeur who haunts the academy. At first glance, it does not seem like a serious problem except for a small detail. One of the third-year students is one of the 4 great nobles, and is known for hating men, Celestia Ralgris. To kill 2 birds with 1 stone, his partner Charis has a brilliant idea to catch the voyeur, turn Lux into a girl to use as bait and catch him red-handed. However, everything goes to hell when Lux finds the pervert while watching Celestia talking to a kitten, ending with the creep escaping and Lux almost being discovered. Surprisingly, Celestia heals her wounds without discovering who is hiding behind the wig. Lux is in a dilemma since he must talk to Celestia to avoid Ragnarok. As if that were not enough, he must deal with 2 beautiful girls fighting over him at all hours. Poor thing, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Despite her doubts, Lux confronts Celestia, turning a deaf ear to the rejections that the noblewoman has towards men. Before the argument escalates, R'lyeh resolves the fight by proposing a duel to the death with knives. Celestia is known for being the strongest in the entire institute, and no one had ever been able to defeat her. Before the competition, the girls and Lux are trained by Celestia on an island far from any distractions. At the end, the noblewoman asks for the skillful hands of her friend to give her a massage. Lux entrusts herself to God, the saints, and Blue Demon so that he is not discovered. Celestia is happy to share a quiet time with her new friend. The next morning, she asks him to accompany her around the town, to try on swimsuits, eat delicious things and rest a little, even though Celestia wants to maintain her mask as an implacable leader and incorruptible. In private, Celestia is honest with Lux, revealing that everything in her mask is a farce so as not to show weakness, that behind vanity is the truth that she will never tell. In short, Celestia does not hate men. She only pretends to do so, perhaps because flattery has broken her heart. She asks her to understand her if she doesn't even trust her anymore because fear has made her heart cold. Celestia does not suspect that the friend who has confided her deepest secrets to her is a trick in disguise. Therefore, she continues her life, silencing the beating of her heart and the warnings of her faithful companion, Sanya. Not everything in this life is training, work, and fighting for young Arcadia. There is also time to have fun. From R'lyeh to Irie, they dazzle glances and catch sighs with their flirtatious outfits that cover their delicate bodies. Despite good intentions, the relationship between Celestia and Lux is increasingly broken. When the sun warms there on the beach, the duel takes place. The knights draw their swords, ride their drag rides, and fight, forgetting that they are partners in the same fight. For their part, Charis and Tilfur guard the surroundings, finding the eavesdropper who was lurking around the academy. They are greatly surprised when the eavesdropper turns out to be Celestia's faithful companion, Sania, a spy from the rebel faction who has the mission of ending the monarchy. The Knights' joust is interrupted by Sania's attack that awakens Ragnarok. Celestia wants to take care of Sania to deal with the betrayal that stabs her heart. Lux tells her that it is crazy. Before stopping the spy's attack, she feels a chill when she sees a familiar face in the distance. Helplessly, both are imbued with Ragnarok that slowly drains their energy. Celestia considers everything lost until Lux shows her that she can always trust the friend who lent her a hand. The weakest undefeated is shown as the Black Knight who defeats Ragnarok in less than the blink of an eye. His concern is to unmask that strange stranger. However, that stranger is not his nefarious half-brother, Fugil. It is someone very similar who calls himself Hayes, who would not rest until he seizes the power that sleeps in the ruins. At the end of the fight, a bittersweet feeling drowns Celestia. On the one hand, she is furious that a man knows her secrets, but on the other hand, she is grateful that he was the one who saved her. So she gives him her blessing to continue in the academy and call her a friend. After the fight, Lux goes to see Phil, who was lost in the middle of the fight. Her sleepy look reminds him of the beautiful things that time was responsible for burying. Unfortunately, he cannot stay, since he must prepare for what is to come. In the middle of the night, the ruins rose to the sky in the shape of a giant whale that threatens peace. Krulsifer, Lisha, Phil, Lux, and the others delve into the depths of the beast without knowing what awaits them. R'lyeh chooses to separate them into groups, sending Lux, Noct, and Aerie to explore the ruins. As soon as they take one step, they find a girl with light blue pigtails who does not look human. The creature introduces itself as Krusche, an artificial intelligence with amnesia that guards the ruins. Krulsifer and Lux take her with the rest to help her find the files of her past and the happy creator that she mentions so much. While they continue investigating, Lux takes care of Phil, who is still very weak. Their condition worsens upon reaching the gargoyle farm that guards the place. Lux suggests that Phil and R'lyeh leave. However, the sisters refuse to back down. Just as you hear it, Philufi and director R'lyeh are sisters, but that wouldn't be the only thing Lux would discover. Out of nowhere, they are expelled from the ruins to the surface. The friends are invaded by a gale of bottled emotions that blinds them from their objective. Without knowing it, they had already been there 5 years ago. The innocence of the scene of their first kiss between them is overshadowed by the darkness that corrupts Philufi, who grabs his former friend by the neck without understanding the reasons, only obeying a familiar voice. Meanwhile, the cavalry takes care of the gargoyles without even suspecting what is happening outside. Hayes appears in the shadows as the voice that controls Phil, who has the Ragnarok seed implanted. Apparently, Philufi was a victim of human experiments using potions and weapons by military authorities of the old Arcadia Empire. Because the reason for her pain is because she resists taking the orders that were implanted in her. Hayes proposes something to her. If she goes with her to the ruins and uses her as the key to awaken Ragnarok, she will be saved. Otherwise, her eternal agony will only end after a few days of eternal suffering, and he will die. Desperate, Lux and the girls return to the ruins with more doubts than certainties. It doesn't take long until everything gets complicated, thanks to Krusche, who recovers her memory files. Hay and Phil enter the ruins with the firm mission of taking the technology of the place and do not leave survivors. Hayes already believed himself the winner when the sound of the whistle reverses Phil's control. This gives them time to free themselves and use their drag rides against Hay. Despite his strength, Lux is imprisoned by Ragnarok, forcing him to surrender or continue fighting even if it costs him his life. Lux is clear that it is better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. With that, he takes all the energy he has saved from old grudges and expels it by destroying the ruins with hay inside, whatever it takes to return home and see the sunrise reflected in Philippe's tender eyes. Once again, Lux is received with great fanfare for his magnificent victory, with a banquet to feed an army. Rely joins the celebrations, but not before announcing that the Academy will participate in the Foundation's national celebration. A great event that will bring together the inhabitants for several days. As soon as it is announced, the girls fight to take Lux on a date, since he cannot decide whether he will go on a date with Celestia. The couple walks the picturesque streets of the Empire that bend to watch them walk, and to put their hands on each other's bulges. After going out with Celestia, Lux dresses again in silk for her second date with Krulsifer. Wow, bro doesn't waste time. The two lovers, now that we are on the dance floor, enjoying themselves. Who will Lux stay with? Krulsifer asks him for one last kiss before that sweet lie ends, because she wouldn't think that after that dance she would fall in love. The evening continues to pass, and it is Phil's turn, who waits patiently at the school doors. His other classmates and Raleigh look expectantly at the appointment that takes place behind closed doors. Contrary to his sister's wishes, Philippe wants Lux to sleep on his lap with her hair nestled there in his arms. Lux sleeps with the illusion that he will wake up tomorrow with the heat and a new day in the window, because it was something beautiful to sleep with her. Later, Lux runs to the last appointment of the day. Lisha was waiting for him in the rain for 1,000 hours. Under the glow of the stars, she begs him to be her knight. Lisha doesn't care about her past or his sin as long as she hears an answer. Lisesharte does not want to know that he has had happy hours even without her being there. Despite wanting to appear tough, Lisha loves him so much that she is even jealous of what could have been, believing that that is why she lives so uneasy. One day when Eri and Lix are talking about unimportant things, they are interrupted by Yorika Kirihime, a dragon knight from an ancient empire serving the emperor's family. Every part of her being, from the smallest hair to her entire body, is in full view, is in full disposition of his master, that is, Lux. Wow. Left a girl for the rest, man. Naturally, Lux does not understand anything, and Eri believes that she is an assassin from an enemy empire who is waiting for the right moment to stab him in the back. On the contrary, Yoruka buries other things in his sword to please her master, if you know what I mean. Yoruka does not plan to kill him or harm him. The only thing she wants is to make Lux fall in love, and with him restore the glory of the old empire. Even if she must fight with all the suitors that Lux has behind him. Even so, the girl managed to escape and told Lux that the next time they saw each other, she would end his life. Sometime later, the preparations for the national holiday continue. Lisha prepares her welcome speech. Lux continues to think about whether to be her knight, and the enemy factions launch their plan to annihilate everyone in the academy. The council of the 4 great nobles and the queen of the Atismata Empire, Rafi Atismata, Lisha's aunt, informs Aria and Lux that the survivors of the former empire are planning something for after the festival. Their Majesty orders them to recapture the dissidents and avoid a greater disaster. If they do so, their debt to the empire and all charges against them will be eliminated. Lux does not hesitate for a second to accept to give her sister a better tomorrow. Lux entrusts the adjustments to his drag ride to Lisha, while Lux investigates his servant, Yoruka. She explains that, just like he must make sacrifices for his brother, with the difference that his little brother was murdered. So, she wishes him the best of luck, because he will need it. The next morning, the city dresses up to receive the knights who will fight a duel. The greatest warriors will fight until their last breath in order to rise with victory. One by one they fall until it is Lisha and Krulsifer's turn. At one point, the drag ride loses control and attacks the audience. Krulsifer freezes her mid-fight, leaving her out of the competition. The judges blame her for almost cause a tragedy by putting her behind bars and bringing disgrace to the royal house. Lux flies off in search of what was responsible for his misfortune. It was a trap planted by Sanya. The spy summons the gargoyles that force him to reach a resistance fortress who take him to safety. That night, Irie tries to explain what happened with Lux. Despite it being a secret mission, the girls suspect Yoruka, but that is not the important thing. Regardless of who it was, they must do 2 things. Rescue Lisha and find Lux, who is being besieged by the survivors of the old empire. The 7th crowned prince of the Arcadian Empire finds himself between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, he is fighting against the rebel forces. On the other, he must prevent the giant warrior from reaching the city. Meanwhile, Irie and company prepare the defences of the academy without suspecting that, in the dungeons of the castle, Sanya offers Lisha to surrender and hand over the crown in order to avoid more deaths. If after all she is already a traitor to the old empire, that her skin is engraved with the memory of your betrayal. Surprisingly, Lux arrives to save her from her captors. With her head held high, she dries her tears and goes to fight against the monsters from her past that kill her and drive her crazy. The princes of a kingdom that pales before their strength once again fight side by side, just like that day that destiny brought them together on their path. Lisesharte and Lux launch themselves like a donkey in the face of their rival's fury, causing the giant founder to fall under his own weight. The fall shakes the earth, although Hayes gets up to continue fighting for his lost cause. Lux turns away from the fight to face her servant, with the sadness of finding a reason to fight her. Yoruka tries to make his master understand that she is doing it to avenge her brother murdered by the Empire. Seeing that continuing to insist would be foolish, she confronts him with the end that already gave him her love, faith, and entire life. Lux neutralizes her in the blink of an eye to leave her lying there, reflecting on what she believed was right and saving Lisha from certain death. Hay intends to use a lightning bolt with the power of the sun to evaporate the Empire once and for all. However, Yoruka neutralizes La Crusha, ensuring that Hay's plans go to hell. Frustrated, Hay attacks with a murderous fury in order to achieve her goal, even if she must murder all the inhabitants of the kingdom one by one. However, Lux's will is much more powerful than any enemy who dares to take away the peace of mind that has cost him so much. In Lux's heart, there is no room for resentment, and he is not ashamed of it because he can be a coward who forgives a soul blinded by rage. Now that brave man, returning to see his beloved, hugs her again. How the beautiful feeling of having given everything for her, and thus being decorated as he should be, for being the true hero of the Empire. If you like this video, make sure to like it. Thanks for watching.